Hey everybody, it's Ola aka Chuck1 from Battlefield Podcast here with Tim aka Darkness429 and Scanner the aka Less One.
Oh yeah.
Scannerbarkly, who's joined us once before in the past. This is sort of a mini podcast. We just want to talk about one topic in particular, and that is the seemingly recent increase in denial of service attacks on whether it's live streamers that are streaming Battlefield 3 or servers that are hosting events like Level BF's weekly battles that they hold, and just sort of shoot the shit for a little bit and discuss this topic because it seems to have come more and more to the forefront lately. At least it feels like that to me, which is why I decided that we should have a chat about it. I guess before we get into what you guys think about that, these denial of service attacks, usually what ends up happening is that someone will be playing Battlefield 3, and usually it's somebody that's either streaming to a rather large number of people, or it's the server itself that's hosting the event. And then typically what happens is they just go offline. It's like their internet stops working temporarily. And it's kind of hard to, I guess, prove these things because it could just be internet outages for people, or servers do crash for other reasons as well. But I don't know. It seems to me lately it's been rightfully or wrongfully blamed on those attacks. We know Battlelog itself has had issues over the last week where some group or groups of people have been attacking or preventing some of the services from working properly. Tim, you've had a lot of problems with Battlelog lately.
Yeah, I wasn't able to play Battlefield for almost a week.
And it just kind of shows itself by not being able to connect to servers or being disconnected very quickly and having those typical you've been disconnected from EA Online kind of problems, right?
Yep, exactly.
So, do you guys think that has happened more lately? Am I just imagining that?
No.
And I'm wondering, why is this happening now? Like, I thought about these attacks on Battlelog. Battlefield 3 is a year and a half old, or more than that now. Like, why now?
Well,
Because of Punkbuster. I believe, but don't quote me as an absolute authority on it, that at the end of April, so the timeline works, Punkbuster patched out or scripted out or coded out or whatever they did a load of the well-known hacks from the bigger hacking groups, like NX and all those dudes, all got their slaps delivered on around the end of April. So it's looking like it's more of a retaliatory thing than anything else, because a huge amount of dedicated hacking groups all of a sudden had their toys taken away and had a little fucking hissy fit. So rather than just being big ass giant bitches who need to hack in a game, they also need to deny other people who can legitimately play the game well or badly from even being able to do just that. Because nobody throws their toys out of the pram quite like a hacker.
Yeah, I mean, this used to happen to us a few times in live stream where it sort of seems to escalate. First, you'll get somebody that's just hacking in a game, and then you go to servers where you know the admins, they can ban them, and then they seem to up the level of trying to take down the server, which has happened several times in the past. And I guess when that doesn't work, or that's too complicated, or whatever, I guess there is ways that you can get the IP addresses of people who are connected to a server. So you can technically take down an individual and keep their internet connection so filled up with garbage that they can no longer use it.
yeah, it's a really stressful situation to be in. I was doing a live stream for Gloves for Tags on one Tuesday, and one of our hacking little followers that follow us on Twitch came in and hacked me with medkits and whatnot, and then decided to take down the entire server and my internet connection. I was out for like 2 hours. That sucked.
Yeah, it's interesting though that you can get these people, that easy. Like whatever it is that you've done or said in the past that attracted them to you and said, right, I don't like XYZ person, so they hack the streams, or they just hack your games, or they drop the servers. It's almost a compliment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess you could think of it like that.
Any time, as far as I'm concerned, any time you fucking piss somebody off, that's a good thing.
True. The shame of it is that when there's events held, most recently this past Tuesday, the Gloves for Tags again. I know we keep going back to that, but it's a pretty popular event. It was sort of I would say most publicized this last Tuesday because Jess Epona was going to be the stabbee.
Yeah.
And she put up a video on YouTube which got a lot of views. So there was a lot of interest and stuff generated in that. And I was... Oh, there's a spider on the wall over there.
Gross.
I was... now I've lost my train of thought completely. I was at work, so I wasn't able to watch or participate or anything like that. But I remember seeing on Twitter that, things were going, everyone's tweeting, okay, join the server. People like Jack Frags were going to join. And then suddenly I remember Jess just disappeared off the face of the earth. Disappeared off the internet. And, yeah.
So what do you guys think this means for Battlefield 4? Are we going to run into the exact same problem?
No. It means thank crap it's happening now. Because if EA and DICE and the guys who are doing their anti-hacks have pissed people off to this level, because let's face it, Battlefield 3 was largely open to exploit.
Yeah.
Since it launched, and they've slowly been closing the doors as time goes on. So every door that's closed is gone on a checklist for Battlefield 4. Ensure we do not have this available exploit. The last thing they want, if I was a hacker and I had a tiny penis, I'd be sat there going, I really want to fuck with EA and DICE on the launch week of Battlefield 4.
Yeah.
So they're going to be sat there and they're going to have to make allowances and have in place fail-safes and systems that ensure that the launch goes smooth, because that's about $1 billion on the line that week, if that goes well or not. So it's better that it's happening now, when you may or may not be playing Battlefield 3 as much as you would have been 6 months ago. It's actually a far less of an interruption to what EA and DICE want to do. Like, granted, they still need Battlefield 3 to be there because everybody's paid it, they played it, and they love still playing it. And they need those fresh people who come in now with the lower price points, with the constant sales of Battlefield 3 on Origin for $10 and whatever. And they're just setting up all these new purchasers for Battlefield 4. But it's really not as damaging as I think the people responsible for it would like to believe. The effectiveness of any hack or DDoS attempt is born by how long the server is down, and I've never really seen the servers go down for more than 5 or 10 minutes.
Right,
Then
and
you just go back and it's back up.
And I think the fact that they've done this to Battlelog now is a good thing, because they're able to upgrade or make whatever improvements necessary to the back ends of Battlelog, so that this doesn't happen in Battlefield 4. So it's a good point.
Exactly. Better to have it all happening now.
Yeah, I mean,
Dan,
an individual
you're not
player being DDoSed is not, in the grand scheme of things, such a big deal. But when Battlelog is affected and all of a sudden you have hundreds or thousands of people on the PC not being able to play, that is an issue. And that's sort of definitely the last thing they'd want to see on the Battlefield 4 launch week. That'd be a nightmare for them. So it's funny, because I know that people who play Battlefield on the consoles over the last week with all the issues on Battlelog and stuff, we're just kind of smirking a little bit on the side, because it's like everything is perfectly fine here.
Yeah. Exactly.
Same with the hacks. You don't get all of that stuff. You get a lot of exploits and weird shit happening on the consoles, but you don't have that. There's no punk buster issues, any of that stuff. So
yeah, I never got killed by a guy with a med kit on PS3.
No, it doesn't happen.
You know what I mean? But I've never got killed by a guy with a med kit on PC either.
It's fun.
You see the odd guy you think who he might be aimbotting or he might have a damage mod or whatever, but nothing really so obvious.
Right. Well, and when someone kills you with a med kit, they're not hacking for the points purpose. They're doing it, out of sport.
Yeah, so that you know that they're hacking, or for that challenge, or to be honest, these guys get way too much credit. Most of them have just bought their shit from guys who know what they're doing.
Well, and that actually goes back to what you said earlier about how these companies who are, and I'm calling them companies because there is a business there, that sell these hacking tools, are probably upset when those hacks get squashed out. I'm sure they'll find new ones. Nothing's ever perfect. No software ever is. But if what you say, it makes sense that if Punkbuster did sort of close a bunch of the loopholes, they're certainly then losing business, because it's a lot of just pay $20 and you get these suites of things. It's kind of gross, actually.
Yeah, personally, I'd love to I'd love to look deeper into the hacking thing, almost like from a journalistic point of view. Like, because having never hacked, I've no real idea as to how it works or where you go or what you do. But I did actually, when I was investigating the DDoS attacks and what may or may not be behind them last week, I stumbled across a video that had been put up on YouTube of a guy who was using these hacks.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very apparent that you cannot do certain things within the game, even hacking, without having it be very obvious on your own screen. Like
Yes.
in this guy's game, everyone on the server had boxes around him, and no matter where they went, he could see the box.
Right.
And he could see if they were a good guy or a bad guy at all times. And he could
Right.
just shoot them through the wall.
Right. It would probably tell them like a percentage of how many people were looking at them at that point in time and whatnot. Like they're very.
It was crazy. Like there's no way you could upload, like there's no way you could be a YouTuber and run these things and get away with it from what I can see.
Right.
Unless there's far more sophisticated ones out there. But it'd be super interesting, I think, to dig deeper into the why. Like I'd love to like get my hands on a guy who was happy to admit like, oh yeah, you know, I hack, and just talk to him about hacking and why the hell he does it.
I'll try to find the videos, but there is a couple that were posted a while ago about an interview with a hacker.
Yeah.
Tim, you remember them? I'll
do.
have to find them, probably link them in the description somewhere. But it was interesting. It was similar to that. It was where somebody actually, I think they were live streaming, and someone
He was
came in.
he was a well-known streamer, and it was the guy that kept playing around with us, that one hacker that come into our streams. And he pretty much just flat out asked him, he was like, you know, why do you do it? And he just said, because. And he's like, you know, like I do it because I can do it. You know, I have money, so I pay for these hacks. I pay like $100 a year or whatever for these hacks, and I do it because I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, I mean, some people definitely take pleasure out of screwing on everybody else's game up because that becomes a sport. Oh, I failed at killing the spider. Fuck me. Jesus. All right, so Scanner, you think that's going to be fixed for Battlefield 4? Tangentially, do you think they're still going to be using Punkbuster, or do you think they're going to build their own thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll have no reason not to. It's like hacking is as I don't know. I don't want to say it gets blown out of proportion or it's not that big of an issue because I despise hackers and hacking. You know, if you suck at the game, just embrace the fact that you suck and enjoy it anyway. But there's a marginal impact for the majority of people. You guys are in the public eye, or at least the community eye, so you get the attention. But the average person who logs onto their PC maybe plays 4 hours of Battlefield a week, never going to run into a hacker, ever.
Right.
So they're going to stick with the guys who they have right now. They're going to stick with Punkbuster and let them kind of learn from all this, like Battlefield 3-ness that has been happening, and you know, they'll roll into Battlefield 4. And if it's still as much of an issue for Battlefield 4, if Punkbuster can't show that they've learned and they're adapting as well as the hackers, then they'll move on.
No, you know, it's a shame that they're still using Punkbuster. That seems to be the industry standard, is to use that form of anti-hacking software. But Punkbuster has always had its problems, even from the days of when I played Raven Shield. There were other people that were developing other third-party programs to sniff out hacks. And they were more in depth. The amount of INI files that actually went and looked through were a lot more in depth than what Punkbuster looked at. It would be nice to see another company step up and say, here, this is better because of these reasons, because it's better than Punkbuster because of this. So it'd be nice to see a shift in anti-hacking software, but I just don't see it happening. So like Skinner said, you know, just gonna have to deal with it. Not a lot of people are probably going to see them, but it sucks for the people that do get to deal with it, like us.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Absolutely.
Well, let us know what you think in the comments on the video, and thank you guys both for joining me and chatting a little bit about this, and hopefully we'll see less of it in the future. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.